All right. Hello, everybody. Hope everyone's having a wonderful morning. Welcome to the next Power Hour, and we are now in April of 2022. It's kind of hard to believe that we're this far along in the year already. Think about it like this. The year is 25% complete. So if you've got goals, you hopefully are about 25% of the way towards your goals. It's kind of a cool way to think about it. But yeah, I got new graphics and new music and new everything for the new quarter. So my friends in the Northern Hemisphere, we are experiencing spring. So the graphics and stuff are going to be more geared toward spring today. But first and foremost, I want to know how everyone's doing. How are you doing, and what are you planning on writing today? That's what I want to know. So I want to know what folks are writing. I am going to be writing toward book 5 in my Good Necromancer series. So that series is about 5 books, it's 5 books. This is technically the 6th book. I've got like a 1.5 novella. So I'm about 30,000 words into it, and I'm hoping to finish it either this week or early next week. So looking forward to it. And yeah, I'm seeing some comments roll in. Hope everybody is doing well. I expected, since the weather is starting to get nice here, at least in the States, that we're probably going to have a bit fewer folks. So we'll see. We'll see. All right, let's see. Melody is writing book 3 in her Cowboy Street romance. That sounds cool. Is it, I wonder if it's contemporary or if it's like old school West. And Doc Sexy, terrific as usual, blog on microgreens at the moment. Okay, cool. Magdalena, hope I said your name correctly. Working on my novel, book 1. Very, very cool. Emmett Fitzhume, writing about a young dwarf's first days in the fantasy world, equivalent of basic training for the Undermountain King. Intriguing. And then Luana Bennett, working on a fantasy novel for kids and teens. Awesome. Yeah, you guys are working on some cool stuff here. And Deborah is writing a fantasy story. Awesome. So, yeah, I'm writing a novel this week, and so I'm looking forward to finishing it. This will be novel number 37, I think, is what I'm working on. And then I've got some plans to jump right into a writing book after that. So no shortage of things to do, that's for sure. Never a shortage of things to write. All right. And Alkesh, editing a science fiction short story before submitting it for publication. Very nice. Well, good luck getting it accepted somewhere. And let's see, Melody. Okay, it's a contemporary book set in Montana with a family of cowboys. Cool. 7 brides for 7 cowboys. That's cool. It's the romance family structure. That always seems to be a tried and true formula. All right, Dwayne. Been working on this for 12 years. 500K words of research, development, and first drafts. Junior high school dream. 62. Got to do it this year. Well, hey, that's good stuff. It's never too late. Never too late. Dwayne, you would be surprised how many people significantly older than you reach out to me writing their first novel. So it's never too late, and welcome to the party, my friend. Publishing is a fun game. All right, DCJ, research stage of a script. Okay. Let's see. Okay, Robbie asks, I was watching your Scrivener videos and I'm still confused. I'm writing a science fiction novel that I feel will take off, but I just don't know where to start. Yeah, Robbie, thank you for letting me know that. I would be curious, I do take questions in the middle of these power hours, so let me know in particular what you're struggling with. But I would also recommend a course called Learn Scrivener Fast by Joseph Michael. If you've got, a few bucks, it's not the cheapest course in the world, but he goes through pretty much every feature of the app in way more detail than I ever could. So I would check him out. There's another person out there that has a blog that's got a lot of free information that you might be interested in. Her name is April Davila. I'll throw her name in the comments. She does a really good job at distilling. Yeah, she's really good at distilling kind of some of the basic features, and she goes pretty in depth as well. So check her out, and then let me know what specific issues you're having, and if I can speak to them, I'll do my best. All right. Let's see here. All right, so I see some more folks are joining. So I just want to explain the Power Hour. If this is your first Power Hour, let me know. I would love to welcome you. And how the rules work is in a couple minutes, I'm going to change screens. I'm going to put on some calm music and a timer for 20 minutes. And in that 20 minutes, we're going to write like our lives depend on it. And then we're going to come back and debrief. I want to know how much you wrote. I'll let you know how much I wrote. I want to know how you're feeling. I'll let you know how I'm feeling. And we'll have a good time. And during the breaks, I answer any questions that you guys have about writing, self-publishing, and anything else that you might want to know. All right? And we'll do this for 3 rounds. And then, as you guys know, I stay on the end until I've answered everyone's questions. So if you've got a question, don't fear. I'm here, and we'll try to point you in the right direction if I can, and try to point you to a resource if I don't happen to know the answer. All right, so looking at it here, Warrior Wolf. I'm currently writing fan fiction, but I'm going to start writing my first actual novel. Narnia-like vibes. Awesome. Well, hey, congratulations. Making the decision to self-publish is the first step. So I wish you nothing but luck and success. All right. DCJ, talking about Scrivener. Scrivener is difficult, but once you get it, it's really great. Yeah, it is. It's not the easiest app in the world to learn. That is for sure. All right. So why don't we go ahead and get started? I'm going to throw the graphics on the screen. And timer's on now. So best of luck, everybody, and happy writing. All right. How did everybody do? I want to know. Post your word counts in the chat. I will throw them up on the screen. Hope everybody had a good writing session. That 20 minutes went by really fast for me, way too fast. I got 311 words down. I did have to stop in the middle and do some research. So, but and then at the end, I actually ended up finishing a chapter. So then I had to go back and reread what I wrote. So it slowed me down just a little bit, but it's all good. It's all good. All right, let's see here. All right, as the word counts are coming in, I'm going to answer questions that come in, so don't be shy answering your questions or asking your questions. Oliver Edits asks, hey, how can I learn creative writing? Well, that's a really good question, Oliver. I think the best way to learn is to just do it. Just sit down and write, and it may not be the best words that you write. That's okay, but just sit down and keep writing. And in many ways, writing is a ritual. And the more often and the more consistently you do it, the better you will get. So the ritual part to me is, I think, the most important part, because the more, like I said, the more you used to it, the more consistent you are. It just makes everything easier. All right. The second part is the learning part, right? So how do you go off and learn? So pick up as many writing books as you can. Don't discriminate in the beginning. Read everything from everybody and figure out what resonates with you. You might be an outliner. You might be a pantser like I am. But you're not going to know that until you read the works of other writers who have walked further down the path than you and can illuminate some of that way for you. And so there are going to be some things that you hate, some things that you love, some things that maybe they just don't hit you right. Or maybe they don't hit for you until later on in your career. But just read as many books as you can. Watch as many YouTube videos. I've got plenty of YouTube videos on writing craft, and there are lots of other authors out there that talk about it on blogs and podcasts and everything. I think in the beginning, if you have no experience, you really cannot consume too much content. Now, wherein lies the rub is it's very easy to fall into consuming content and never writing. So that's why the ritual part has to be a key part of your process. And then the third part, if I were to break this into three parts, is the mental and emotional part. So we writers are sensitive creatures, and we just are, and we are the worst judges of our own works. And the biggest challenge in the writing life is yourself. It is wrestling and being at war with yourself. If you fight that war and win that war, everything else just falls into place. So find ways to get your mind right. Do some work on yourself, meditate. There's lots of things that you can do. I've written plenty of books on mastering your writing mindset and reducing the volume of that critical voice, because that will sabotage. I mean, you can sit down and write every day. You can learn as much as you want, but if your mind is not right, then it just becomes very hard. So I would start there. That would be my long answer to your question. All right. So, okay, we got some words coming in here. Emmett, 450. Magdalena, 471. Doc Sexy, 422. Magdalena, I can't believe I got that much in 20 minutes. Well, hey, anything is possible. Especially, my big thing is when you feel good, you write better and you write more. So it sounds like you're feeling good, and that's a beautiful thing. Mr. Tree, 818. 200, getting back into the swing of things. Awesome. Dwayne, good job at 122 words. Wylan, welcome. 60-ish words so far. And Emmett Fitzhume says consistency is key. Absolutely. I actually have a video coming out on, well, it was supposed to be Wednesday, but I think it's going to be next Wednesday now. But I just basically do some simple math. All right. So if you have so let's just say you can only write 500 words a day, to kind of get back to Oliver's question. You can only write 500 words per day. I'm going to get out my calculator because my mental math is terrible. All right. So if you write 500 words per day for 7 days. All right. And I think we can all agree 500 words, it's probably not that much. It's still a good number, but it's not, it's not a very high volume, right? I mean, if you're writing NaNoWriMo, you're writing 1,600 words a day. So 500 words is, much, much less than that. So if you write 500 words a day, let's just humor ourselves here. 500 words a day times 7 is 3,500 words in a week. Not bad, but it's better than 0, right? So if we keep going, 3,500 words in a month is 14,000 words, all right? So 14,000 words, or I don't know, what is that, maybe a third of a novel in a month. And you multiply that by 12 months, and then that will get you 168,000 words in a year. And you probably think, okay, that doesn't mean anything to me, right? But if you divide 168,000 words by 50,000 words, that gets you 3.36 novels. That's actually pretty good, almost 4 novels, and then you multiply that by a decade, right? And then you got 36 novels. I mean, that puts you into prolific territory. I mean, when you do the math like that, it just makes everything, it just illuminates what you should be doing every day. Because then you truly realize that, as Emmett Fitzhume says, consistency is key. Because every day you write, 10 years from now, you're going to be glad you did it. Every day you don't write, 10 years from now, you're going to wish that you did. All right, so consistency is everything. Robbie Wilson asks, who was the first guy you mentioned? Oh, it's Joseph Michael. I have an affiliate link if you are so moved. If you're interested, if you can afford it, I think it costs $297. But it is a fantastic course. You cannot go wrong. His name is Joseph Michael. All right, Joseph Michael. He's got a really cool writer's block course too. All right, so I threw that in the chat for you, Robbie. So check that out if you are interested. Magdalena, consistency and feedback too. Yep, just be careful with feedback. Just make sure you get feedback from the right people, because there are a lot of people out there that will give you feedback that will derail your mindset. All right, so you have to be careful and guard yourself from feedback. I should say guard yourself from the wrong feedback. Luana, are children and teens the most demanding and hardest to please readers? No, not necessarily. I don't think they're any. I mean, I guess I shouldn't say that definitively because I don't write for teens and young people. But what I would say is they might be a little bit more forgiving of story issues and stuff. I mean, they're really you talk about readers reading for story. That's what children and teens really are doing. I think the older you get, the more critical you become. I think adults are, just based on what I know, I think adults are probably a lot harder to please than a child or a teen. I mean, I can remember stories that I read when I was a teenager that I would go back and reread as an adult, and some of the magic was gone, So, I don't know. I mean, I'd be curious to hear what other people have to say about that. Okay, Robbie, the part is getting my description down and how to write settings, etc. I'm reading some books to get some ideas. Yeah, the big thing is to layer your description in. Don't just throw it in a giant paragraph. Layer it in, give a little bit of description, then do some dialogue, then do some action, give a little bit more description. Kind of feed it to your reader on a slow drip. The key is just to make sure that you control what the reader sees in their mind. So as you're writing, just be thinking, okay, what is this going to generate in the reader's head? All right. So that's a tip. I'll think of some other books that might help you with that. All right. Let's see. Mithrowin. I'm thinking of doing an English literature and creative writing BA. Do you think it's a good path to go down for those who want to feature their career in the writing industry? Well, Mithrowin, I mean, if that's the path you want to go down, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I was an English major in college, and I probably would not be here as a writer if I wasn't an English major in college. So, no, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think if that's your conviction, then stick with the conviction. Here's what I would tell you. If I could go back in time, back to my college days, I was a pretty disciplined guy. I mean, what you see me do now is kind of how I was in college. I mean, I pretty much got like 4.2 GPA. So I spent all my time studying and all of that. But if I could go back and do more, what I would have done is I would have been more intentional about what it was that I was trying to do. I was kind of unfocused in college. Like, it sounds weird to say that I was disciplined, but I was unfocused. But I was, because if I knew in college that I was going to be a self-published writer and that I was going to build a career that I'm building now, oh man, I would have made a lot of decisions and did a lot of things that would have been different, and I probably would be a lot further along down the road than I am now. So what I would just say is, if that's the path you want to take, just be intentional about it and have an idea of what you want to do when you are out. So if it is being a self-published author, which I would think most folks in my community are going down that path, then have an idea of that, and don't let the academics try to steer you away from that. Another thing is, just make sure that you understand the legal part of writing. In college, they will teach you the craft. They will some of it, I think, just my personal opinion. Some of it I think is a little misguided. There's still this mentality of writing slow is better, all of that crap. I just don't believe in that. I think you write at the pace you want to write and satisfy your creative spirit. But there may be people that try to dissuade you from that. So you have to be kind of careful with the emotional part, but also just keep the legal and the business part and the marketing part there too, because everything that I know now that has made me successful, I did not learn in college. College helped me get the ritual part down because I had to turn in stuff every week, but it did not help me with the business part. It did not help me with the legal side of being a writer. It did not help me with the marketing. It did not help me with the branding. So there's a lot that you will not get in college. So I just urge you to, as long as you understand that and you can supplement it accordingly, I think you'll be fine. Long answer to your question. Long answer. Okay. Well, folks, let's get back into our next writing session. I see a lot of comments. I love it. So I will get to all of your comments. Trust me. I promise. I'm not getting off of this live stream until I answer everyone's questions and comments. But I want to keep things moving here, okay? So let's jump into our second writing session. I'll throw the music and the graphics on the screen. 20 minutes. We'll be back. All right, about 30 seconds, folks. All right. Hope everybody had a good writing session. Let me know. Let me know how many words you got and how you're feeling. So I am in the middle of looping. So I did not, unfortunately, I got about 80 words in. So I'm about 383 words for the session. And let me see how many words I am for the manuscript. Dang, I'm 29,820 words away. So I'm a little under 200 words away from breaking 30K, which I definitely want to do today. I want to try to be on the back end of 30, like 35,000 or better by the end of the weekend. That will tee me up to hopefully finish the novel this week. But, you know, novels take their own pace. They take their own time. So we had a lot of questions coming in. So let me know what your word counts were. And then I'm going to get to some of these questions. We had a lot of them coming in here. Questions and comments. Camille says, adults love to read only to criticize your writing. Yes, that is indeed true. Indeed true. Let's see, Luana asks, sometimes as I write, I find that my story becomes more complex and steers more toward the teenage group than middle school age kids. Is this normal to experience in the course of your writing? Yeah, it is normal. That's why a lot of people will say sometimes just write the story that you want to write and then figure out who the audience is or figure out how to market it. There's two schools of thought on that. Some people say you should know your market before you write, but I think stories just evolve and you just never really know. So, yeah, I think it is normal, personally. I think it is quite normal. Okay. Archana, when I plan a trilogy, I'm thinking of writing the first book in detail and clear outlines for books 2 and 3. What would you recommend? Well, I would say I would write what write. I mean, do what works best for you. Do what works best for like your your mindset. There's some people who are outliners, and that's the only way they can see themselves writing a story. And there's people like me who are pantsers. I used to be an outliner, and I realized that outlining was bringing me lots of suffering and lots of pain. I would spend all this time outlining a book only to find that I didn't follow the outline at all. So that was kind of unfortunate, but I learned that I was a pantser. There's some people who outlining is the path, that is the way for them. There's no right or wrong way to do it. There's just your way. So if that's the way you feel that will help you produce a novel that you are proud of, go for it. Go for it. Don't be afraid to experiment, though. Sometimes you might be surprised at how your processes and your mindset changes over time. Okay. All right. Felix Haley Keene. I want to write a superhero trilogy where the leading female characters are clone childs of two females. I want to talk new ideas. How can I write my own Greek myth? Not entirely sure what you're asking there, Felix. To the question of how do you write this story? I mean, just write the story that's on your heart. That's what I would do. Just keep in mind what you want to say. And as far as myths, if there's a myth that you happen to gravitate toward in terms of Greek myth, then certainly you can weave that into your story. It's not a requirement. I mean, there are a lot of people that like to do that. I think the danger is making it too on the nose. Especially if it's a Greek myth that people know. Most people are a lot more subtle about it instead of making it like, okay, this is a Greek myth that takes place in the real world. Unless that's your thing. There are some people that do that. But yeah, that's where I would start, and sounds like an interesting idea. All right. Let's see. Wylan, if any of your books could be turned into a movie or show, which do you think would adapt the most well to the screen? I feel about 75% of them would be perfect to adapt. I would probably say the Last Dragon Lord series. Honestly, I think that series would lend itself pretty well to a movie or a Netflix show. It's just very dramatic, and yeah, that would be my answer to your question, Wylan. Usually, I give you squirrely answers when you ask me stuff like that, but that's my answer. Okay. Blessed One, 1994, a really important question. Any advice on stopping writing because of mental crap like fear? I think that's what you're trying to say. Yeah, the mindset is the hardest part. It's the hardest part of this life, and so many people quit and stop because of the mindset piece. And the really sad part is that they're actually pretty good. A lot of people are really good writers, but they just can't get over that mental hump. I was just looking at an influencer. That's all I'll say. An influencer in this space that was pretty well respected and had a big body of work, and was looking for something that this person did a video that I thought was really good, and I was trying to remember something that she said about a particular platform because I thought it was insightful, and I went to try to find it, and completely gone. And you got to ask yourself, what would make somebody just take all of their work away and just destroy it? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I mean, that would be like you guys thinking about me one day and, oh, what did Michael Laurent say about that in this book that he wrote? And then waking up one morning and finding that all the work on all of my books were gone from Amazon. Now, assuming I'm not banned, but what would make me make the decision to just destroy all of my work? I don't see that happening, but it's pretty sad, So anyway, I'm giving this long preface, which is kind of depressing, to say that, writing is a mental game. So how do you stop that? In other words, let's take this question, let's take it and twist it. How do you master your thoughts so that writing becomes something that you can do very easily? Because, the common adage, you are what you think. I was just reading the Dhammapada, the teachings of Buddha, And that's one of the first lines in the book is you are what you think. So if it's true that you are what you think, then how do you do that? Guys, give me 1 second. My daughter's coming in. Okay. My daughter needed something real quick. Okay, so how do you do that? Right? How do you start to attack the mental fear? You are what you think. All right. So I don't know. It's a deep, vast question. But what I would start with is what are the thoughts that are going through your head when you are starting to experience the fear? All right. What is it that your critical voice is saying to you? Is it saying that, you can't do this because your writing's never going to be good enough? You got to figure out what that self-talk is. And then whenever that self-talk starts, you have to say something that counters it. So if the voice is saying this is never going to be good enough, no one's ever going to like it, you have to say, but I'm going to get it in front of people and find out anyway. So for every bad thought you have to counteract it with a good thought. And I know that sounds silly. I know it sounds weird, but it works. It really does work. Another thing to do is to try to get out of your own way. So if the mental crap, like you say, like fear, is stopping you, I want you to remember something. Fear is a biological response. Fear is something that cavemen developed. Well, I don't know if it was cavemen, but certainly our earliest ancestors developed in order to save their lives. So one day there was somebody walking along, and they passed by a bush, and a saber-toothed tiger popped out and ate them. And everybody knew that, and so now, when the community walked past a bush, they thought twice about that because somebody got eaten last week. And so fear develops because that was a response that we had to develop to save our lives in nature. But now, I'm not saying that it's irrelevant. It's still kind of important if you're walking down a back alley and there's somebody coming the opposite direction. Fear, I think, is warranted in that situation. But when you're sitting and looking at the blinking cursor, that's not fear. That's anxiety. Anxiety is a response that is similar to fear, but you are afraid of things that you are imagining. And most of the time, the things that you are imagining will not come to pass. So fear is being afraid of something in your immediate environment that is probably going to cause you bodily harm or death. Anxiety is being afraid of something that you imagine. So when you understand that and you decide, and I say use that word very deliberately, you decide to stop being afraid of the things that you imagine, then fear it has no power over you, has no power over you. Another thing I would just think about is that, we're all just passing through. No one's promised tomorrow. And so, it just, I know I spent a lot of time on that blessed one, but it sounds like you're really struggling with this. So if you have any questions, you'll feel free to write me in confidence, and I'd be happy to work through any particular issues that you have. All right. So, okay, okay, I'm falling behind on all of these comments, guys. You know I'm trying here. Okay, I promise you, I'm trying to get through all your comments, and I'm not getting off of this call till we get there. All right. So I'm seeing some words come in. Everyone's doing great. Dwayne 125, Mithrowin 407, Doc Sexy 457, Magdalena 432, Emmett Fitzhume 487. All right, everyone is doing great, and I think some folks are going to be pretty well poised to get over 1,000 today, and that's awesome. All right, so I see some more questions that came in. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to jump into our third session because I like to have these kind of wrapped. I like to have our writing sessions wrapped up by about 11:30 my time. Then I'll stay on and answer all your questions. All right. So let's do it, folks. Let's get it done. Okay. So writing session number 3. I'm going to throw on the music and the graphics. 20 minutes. We'll be back, and I want to know how you did for the day. Good luck. Okie dokie. Well, let me know. How's everyone feeling? How many words did you get in? I want to know. I have a sneaking suspicion many of you got over 1,000 words for today, and that is amazing. So, well done, everyone, in getting things done. Let's see, I broke 30,000 in my manuscript, which feels really, really good. I am at 711 words for the day. So I'm in a really interesting spot in this story. It's weird because it feels like I'm at the end of the novel, like it feels like I'm ramping up for a final battle, but mathematically I'm nowhere near the final battle. So I really have no idea where this story is going to go. I mean, I know where I'm not sure what's going to happen in the immediate chapter and the chapter after that, but I have an idea of what's going to happen like 3 or 4 chapters from then, and then it just kind of goes dark. So I think I know what the ending is going to be. This novel is this is kind of a weird, discombobulated novel. Every novel is different. Novels are kind of like children, you know. Every child is different and unique in their own way, and this novel is definitely different, different to say the least. All right, Doc Sexy 267, nice job. Magdalena, all right, broke 1,000, 1163, very nice job. Emmett 349, Audile Rabbit, really cool name, cool avatar too. 457. Wyland, total 201 words. Hey, 201 words is good. All right, Dwayne, 333 words today, total, slugging it out. Nice job. Yeah, everyone's doing great. So I plan to get a lot of writing in today. I'm actually going to try to hit 3,000 minimum today. That'll get me to my 35,000 mark. You're probably asking, why am I trying to get to 35,000? I've got kind of a crazy week coming up at work, and I know that my word counts are going to take a hit. This week, there's just no way around it. So I've kind of been planning in advance for how I'll deal with that. I might be lucky to get 1,000 words a day this next week. So if I can get 35,000, then if I do 1,000 words a day for the next week, that'll still put me well into 40. So then when I get to pretty close to, it'll put me well into 40. So that way I can pick up next weekend and then just get the novel done. All right. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. But if this week isn't as crazy as I think it's going to be, then I should finish earlier than that. All right, let's see. Mithril win 624, 1,000 total. Nice work. S Rose 509. Sailor T Wright, congratulations on breaking 30K. I'm at 26K and counting for my manuscript. Not at all today. So far today, I've only 545. Hey, that's all good. And I gotta say, I like the Roxas avatar there. Good Kingdom Hearts reference. All right, I love Kingdom Hearts, by the way. Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, not so much 3, but you guys know I like Kingdom Hearts references. All right, Emmett Fitzhume 1286 for the day. Fantastic work. All right, Skylar, congratulations on hitting 30K. Do you do these writing sprints every weekend? No, I don't. I don't do them every weekend, but I do them the first Saturday of the month. So, in fact, why don't we look at the calendar? I'll let everybody know when the next one is going to be here. Let's see. The next Writing Power Hour will be Saturday, May 7th at 10 o'clock Central Time. All right, 10 o'clock Central Time. So first Saturday of the month, you can reasonably expect me to be here. June, I will have to probably bump that to the second Saturday of the month. I'm flying down to InkersCon in Dallas, Texas. So if anyone happens to be at InkersCon, let me know. I'd love to meet you in person. But I'm gonna be there that weekend, the first weekend in June. So we'll probably have to push the June one back. But and then July, it depends on when July falls with the 4th of July here in the States. But otherwise, it's almost always going to be the first Saturday of the month. All right. Deborah, 605, feeling really good, writing a prologue type of chapter for the character. All right, really nice. All right, Tiev, all right, couple dozen words in the last sprint I joined, all right. but I wrote some lyrics that kind of matched one of the beats of one of the songs that I was listening to. Okay, awesome. Good stuff. Okay. TF says, I don't play instruments, so I can't be a musician unless some bands have songwriters who don't play, sing, and just write. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that one. Okay. Wylan, I love Kingdom Hearts, including 3. Waited 14 years for Kingdom Hearts 3. Personally loved every second of it. Awesome. Yeah, I just think the concept was just so cool. They just ran off the rails with the story. It's like, what the hell is going on? Who the hell is this? There's just so many characters, and it just got convoluted. I would love it if they did like a Final Fantasy VII remake where they just blow everything up and then just say, okay, we're going to start again and go down a different path. But I don't know if they'll do that or not. Anyway, all right, let's get to some of these questions. And you guys know I'm going to stay on until I answer all your questions and comments, so don't be shy. Wylan, do you imagine soundtracks for your stories when you write them, or am I just weird? No, I don't imagine soundtracks for the stories. I do listen to certain types of music when I am writing. Like for my Good Necromancer series, my main character Lester likes jazz. He likes melancholy, depressing jazz, so I tend to listen to a lot of that when I'm writing Lester stuff. But when I'm writing other series, I usually will put together a little playlist that's a couple hours long that inspires me based on that story. But no, I don't think about particular soundtracks for the books that I'm writing. But if I were to adapt any of my stuff to a movie, I might try to negotiate to get a certain type of composer to write for the movie. That could be kind of cool. There's some composers that I really like and some that I don't like so much. And so if I wanted to get any of my books into movies, I would want to make sure that I have a good film soundtrack with good chords. So that might make or break my contract, to be honest with you. All right. Oliver. Oh, yeah. Thank you so much for answering the first question of this session. And one last thing. Is it too late for me to start my writing career at the age of 17? Dwayne, I want you to talk to this guy. All right. No, it is not too late. You are just getting started, my friend. Okay. So 17 is not too late. I don't know how you got that idea that it's too late. You are extremely early. In fact, I bet there are many people who are probably on this live stream who didn't start that early. I didn't start that early, at least with my career that I know as I know it. I mean, I technically didn't start officially until about 23. And I had the thought that, oh, well, maybe I missed the self-publishing train. It was right around the end of the Kindle Gold Rush. I started like 2011, 2012. People were making boatloads of money, and it was kind of the Wild West, and people were just slapping ebooks up on Kindle, and some people were making a lot of money, and I kind of came in at the tail end of that in 2012, and I was eager to get books onto the market, and lo and behold, I got my first book out. It didn't do so well, and I kind of thought at the time maybe I had missed the train. So I think I can sympathize with how you're feeling. It's easy to look around at everyone and think, oh man, if I had been writing, 5 years ago or whatever. But no, you are exceedingly early in what I think is the golden age of writers right now. There has never been a better time in the history of the world to be a writer. It started sometime around 2007, 2008 with the advent of the Kindle platform for writers, but we're still in early days. And yeah, it's been over 10 years since that, but we are still in early days. The future of writing, I think, is so bright, and just the convergence right now of being able to take your career into your own hands, being able to do things that publishers historically did and do for yourself at the click of a button. I mean, I can download Vellum to my computer in less than 10 minutes. I can have a professionally laid out print book. I mean, just that was not a thing 15 years ago, So I think your advantage, Oliver, is that you're coming into this when a lot of people have worked out a lot of the kinks for you. So if you had come into this in 2007, I think your biggest problem would have been there just would not have been any good resources out there to help you be a self-published writer, or at least successful. And I think what a lot of people were doing is they were just kind of walking down any path that they could, and they didn't really know, And now there's resources for just about everything, and so much of it you can find on YouTube for free. So I think that's your biggest advantage. If anything, if I was 17 and I was starting off, if I was 17 and I was like you, I think you've got some amazing foresight. It sounds like you know what you want to do. I didn't have that when I was 17. But if I was 17 and I was thinking, all right, I see what other people are doing, I want to walk this path and be a writer, I feel like you'd have the whole world I feel like I'd have the whole world in my oyster. It might, I might be dangerous, But I think the big thing is just learn how to find yourself. 17 is a young age, and there's a lot to learn and a lot to experience and a lot of life left to live. And so, just have fun. That's the big thing I try to tell people, and I learned that from Dean Wesley Smith. Have fun, because when the writing is fun, everything else just takes care of itself. So the big thing is, whatever you write, don't be embarrassed of it when you turn 25 or you turn 30 and you look back on this, because I think you're kind of rare. There's not that many people that will be able to look back that far into their writing career. I'm going long on this, I know, but not every day. Not every day somebody asks me that. All right, but I do think it's really, really interesting that I've got someone at 17 starting their career, and then someone at the age of 62. It just goes to show you, writing is a universal thing. It's never too late, but you know what? It's never too early too. All right. So, Ulkesh says, Kevin J. Anderson runs a master's university writing course that covers both traditional and indie publishing. Yes, Kevin J. Anderson is what I would consider a master. Definitely someone who has mastered the craft of writing and the business of writing. So, I don't know very many master's courses around the country that I would wholeheartedly endorse. I would wholeheartedly endorse that one. All right. Magdalena, Brandon Sanderson has a whole class free on YouTube if you are in the sci-fi and fantasy genre. Yeah. Brandon Sanderson's always a good time. Gives very, very good advice. All right. Mithrowin, thank you so much for the advice. I would be diligent. Oh, we were talking about whether a bachelor's makes sense in creative writing. I will be diligent and open-minded, forthgoing. I agree that writing is a very personal journey, which cannot be dictated by stern rules. The legal side, however, crying emoji. Yes, and it's funny that you say that. I was actually, one of the things I've been looking at lately is the neuroscience behind writing. Because I've been thinking, okay, that would be an interesting book to figure out what, because there has to be, I had this idea. I was like, there's got to be somebody who has made it their entire life's work to study writers, right? And what would that research say? And so I actually found some stuff. And one of the things that this researcher said was exactly what you just said, Mithrowin. They said that the writers who they studied, doing a study on writer's block. And they were trying to figure out what causes writer's block. Are there commonalities with the people that have writer's block more than the people that don't? And what they found was, long story short, I won't explain the methodology or anything, but what they found, this was in the 80s, that the writers that didn't experience writer's block as much had a more loose idea of the different rules that were taught to them. So for them, the rules weren't really rules. They were just suggestions that were there to be used when needed and discarded when not needed. And those people were able to get over the writer's block a lot faster, and they found a lot of commonalities around that. So when you think about advice that people give you and you just take it as a tool to put in your toolbox instead of a hard, fast rule, then be more successful. And that's supported by science. All right, so let's see. I know you guys asked these questions like an hour and a half ago. All right, so I know I'm getting to them slowly. Is there a secret to writing a novel that will stand the test of time? Good question. I think having fun. If you have fun, then it's more likely that the readers are going to have fun. And when you have fun, then I think people picking your book up 10, 20, 30 years from now will still feel that, and it'll keep your book relevant. All right? Doesn't matter what the book is about. Doesn't matter how skillfully you executed it. As long as you had fun and as long as you did your best in terms of editing and proofreading and layout and formatting, you put your book out there and the rest kind of takes care of itself. But I think, novels are kind of a law of large numbers. The more novels you write, the more likely it is that more of them will become popular. Whereas if you only have one novel or two novels or even 10 novels, they may not hit. So the more product you have out there, the more entry points you have, just makes it easier. And then and if you're having fun with all those different entry points that you're putting out into the world, then I think that's a recipe for beauty. Okay. Oh, Wylan, he had asked about the soundtrack. Sorry, I missed the second part of this question. I love the letters to the reader after each Galaxy Maverick series. It's a sci-fi series that I have, and all the music talk. I heard beautiful stuff that I never heard because of that. Yeah, so I have a series called Galaxy Mavericks, and it's a space opera, and it's about seven people who save the galaxy, and each of the characters in that series is named after one of my musical influences, and so that's where that's coming from. But yeah, music is a big part of my writing, and I try to listen to stuff that's going to inspire me. Emmett says, I like to think that fear is like cinnamon. It has its use and purpose, but too much ruins the apple pie. Yeah, we were talking about fear, and I agree with that. All right. Dwayne, after all these years, I began to realize I was more world building than writing first drafts. I had to have some way of finding info. No, I think that's common. I think a lot of people spend more time world building, and sometimes, unfortunately, it can take longer than it can take more than people think. But it's normal. And what I like to tell people is when you write that first novel, that's always going to take the longest. The second one usually takes a lot less. So getting that first novel out there, it's kind of like getting it out of your system. All right. Just going through these here. Wylan, do you ever intend to write an autobiography? I know you kind of keep one going through your other works, but is it like a singular book, or would you let someone write a biography about you? I don't know, Wylan. I try not to dwell too much on myself. I don't think my life is that interesting enough for an autobiography. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe at some point when I'm super old, maybe I'll consider it. But I've got a lot of learning to do and a lot of living to do. And I think when you start writing autobiographies and stuff, you kind of codify your life. And my life is not at a point where I'm ready to do that. So probably not at this point. Would I let somebody write a biography about me? Only if they were interested, but I'm not. I don't think my life is that interesting to write a biography about. All right, Emmett, I like to think that... Oh, sorry, I just read that one already. Okay. And I have to say, I wasn't able to get to everyone's comments, but as I was answering these questions, really, really, really happy to see everyone supporting each other, particularly around the question on fear. And, if we're struggling as a community, the beautiful thing about this community is, we help each other. It's not like other industries where people are just kind of out for themselves. This is good stuff. Okay, let's see. Okay, now I'm starting to catch up. Okay, S. Rose, Kingdom Hearts. 365 2 is great because Roxas is great. Cool. Let's see. Mythorwin, I really enjoyed this session. I was writing my outline the day my childhood dog died. So getting back into the pace of things was really healing. Oh, sorry to hear that your dog passed away. It's always a sad day, but glad that you're back on track. All right, I think grieving is warranted in that case. Emmett, if anyone writes a lot of fantasy, look into the Finnish composer named Antti I'm not going to pronounce the name, who writes terrific soundtrack for the type of music for Celtic, Viking, or epic stuff. Cool. Thanks for the recommendation. Luana, okay, Oliver, you're going to get roasted a little bit here. 17, you're a baby. Not quite a baby, but definitely escaping adolescence, I would say. I wish I had that level of ambition when I was 17, man. Man, that would have been cool. Tiev, yep, Oliver, you're getting roasted. Dwayne, wise words. Oliver, go for it. Exactly. All right, Wylan, while you've said you've always wanted to write, did you ever have a different dream? If so, has that dream found itself contributing to the writing? Yeah, my first dream was I wanted to be a musician. I wanted to be a video game music composer. I heard soundtracks like Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy, and I was like, I want to write music that has that impact, the same impact on people that it had on me. And I played a lot of instruments growing up. I played the saxophone, played the tuba, played the accordion, played keyboards, played guitar. I wanted to write music, and that's where I learned my discipline. So the reason I'm able to sit down and focus and continue practicing my writing and getting better is because I did that with my saxophone. Every day after school, I'd come home and I'd practice scales or practice improvisation or practice something, and I started playing music in like the 5th grade. And so I've always carried that with me, and it's nothing for me to sit down and just start doing something. The ritual part of the writing comes really easy to me. So I've always carried that with me. And then learning jazz. I would probably credit jazz with a lot of things in my life, but I think I credit it solely to the fact that I'm a pantser, right? So I can sit down and start writing a novel into the dark and have no idea where this story is going to go. And it always works out because when I had to stand up and solo when I was playing jazz, my solos always worked out. And so whatever I learned about improv, I think like that wired my brain to bring it over into pantsing, which is why I think it's easier for me than it is for a lot of other people. So if those things carried over into my writing, I definitely the discipline and the pantsing I think would be the answers to your question. All right. Oh, EJS Inc. What happens? What happens during the Power Hour? So EJS Link, first Saturday of every month, we as a community get together and we make progress toward our word count goals. So I put some music on the screen. Everyone has an opportunity to write, and then we come back and debrief and share our word counts for the day. And I answer any questions that folks have about writing or self-publishing. So you're more than willing, or more, I cannot talk, more than welcome to join our next Power Hour, and it's going to be Saturday, May 7th. So glad you could join today. All right, let's see here. Oh, and thank you everybody for jumping in and answering the question for EJS for me. All right. Okay, something in the air. How does self-publishing work for children's novels? I don't know. I don't publish children's novels. I'm trying to think of a resource that would be helpful to you. Check out the Alliance of Independent Authors, selfpublishingadvice.org. Go on their blog and search for children's books or writing children's books. In fact, I think they have a book. It's something like How to Write Children's Books, and it's written by a children's book author. The Alliance of Independent Authors is a nonprofit organization for self-published writers, and they put out a lot of really good information around just about everything you could think of, and children's books has been a good focus. Another really cool organization is the Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators. They're a great organization. I've actually had some conversations with some of their leaders, and they're very, very much keen on being open to self-publishing for an author organization. So they've got some resources that would be helpful to you as well, because one of the things that they're trying to do is reach out to self-published writers and educate people on that as well as how to write a quality children's book, which I think is key. All right, let's see. Hunter Hendrick. This was a video I was going to do. Which one is better, Scrivener or Papyrus Author? It depends on what you're looking for. In terms of features, I would have to... In terms of features, here's what I would say. If features is what you're looking for, in terms of, okay, I want something that's going to be able to do everything I want it to do, Scrivener's features are more polished, but Papyrus Authors has more of them. All right. So in terms of features, it depends on what you're looking for, because they're both amazing. Papyrus Author, I've never seen so many features in a writing app. I'm still kind of blown away how they were able to cram so much into it. But, while the features are really good, there are some that have a little bit of edges around them, whereas Scrivener's features are a lot more refined and polished just because they've been around longer. All right. In terms of price, Scrivener has Papyrus Author beat. I mean, it's a one-time fee. Papyrus Author is a perpetual subscription. In terms of the writing experience, I think they're about a wash. If you like the style of Papyrus Author's design, then I think you'll be fine with it. If you want flexibility in terms of being able to write on your phone, then Scrivener is gonna win because of the iOS version. But that's only if you have an Apple device. That may not be important to you. I'm just trying to think of some other features that or other things that would be important for folks. I would start there. So if anything I said resonates with you, that is on my list to do probably a cage match between Scrivener and Papyrus Author. That's going to be a fun one. All right. EJS Inc., what's a good strategy to plan out your book, or do you make it up as you go? I make it up as I go, EJS, or EJS Link, I should say. The only thing I know is what's going to happen in the first scene. All right. That's the only thing I know. What happens in the first scene. All right. So beyond that, I have no idea. But I have outlined books as I went. In fact, one of the most popular videos on my YouTube channel is a video called "How to Outline Your Novel in 10 Ways." You can check that out. There might be a method on there that resonates with you if you are an outliner. All right. Wyland says, "I feel that your fans disagree that your life isn't interesting." Yeah, I don't know. Luana, how difficult is self-publishing? Not difficult at all. I'll say this. It's simple, but it's not easy. The mechanics of self-publishing are not hard. It's about writing a novel in the app that works best for you, getting that novel edited with an editor, getting those edits back into your app, formatting that app for ebook and print, and then learning the ins and outs of the different platforms where you publish your book. The technical part is not hard at all. The business part, the marketing part, that's where it gets a little complicated. Finding your audience, connecting with your audience, finding ways to write books and market those books in a way that you blend art with commerce. That's the challenge of self-publishing. Wyland, is there a Discord for this community? There is not at the moment. I just don't have the I shouldn't say mental bandwidth, but I just don't have the time to manage a Discord. But yeah, at some point in the future, it'll be something that I do. Let's see. Yeah, Mithril Wind Discord community would be lovely. Yeah, I would love to do that. I have to get myself to a point where I can do it at a quality that you guys will get benefit from. Because if I did it now, it would just be an afterthought, and that wouldn't really be a service to any of you. So, all right. Vagrant Vagabond. Kingdom Hearts, the game whose plot is akin to an out-of-control cat's cradle. Never heard it put that way, but you're not lying. All right. Yeah, R.A. Fraley, the saxophone is a lost art in mainstream music. Yes, it is. It's the saxophone, it's just, it's such it's such an amazing instrument, but I think its shortcomings really, I think, have held it back. I mean, you just don't hear the saxophone outside of jazz. I mean, it's rare to hear it in classical music or in orchestral music, just because it doesn't really project, like a trumpet or something. And I've always thought that kind of holds it back. All right. Let's see here. Oh, Deborah Edwards. I'm almost 66 and ready to publish my first novel. It's never too late. Exactly. All right. Oh, interesting comment from Jada. I have a past in forum role-playing. Role-playing is based on improv. You make a character, and the GM is responsible for the setting and story, so you only have to react. It's like I'm a Pantser. That's interesting. How to have originality if all the story types have been told. Just tell the story that's in your head. I mean, no one's asking you to be original. That's not a requirement. I think if you tell the story that's in your head, it's going to come out in an original way, even if the story archetype, man meets, or man versus nature, man versus, self, or whatever those archetypes are, I don't think that really matters. I think readers just want to read stories that are unique and different and told from a different perspective. It's all about how the words are arranged. It's not about the archetype. All right, let's see. Yeah, Emmett said it more eloquently than I think I did. It's the execution, not the ideas. Almost nothing is truly original after centuries of telling stories, and great ideas are everywhere, but execution is in short supply. Yes, indeed. All right. Tim Trott Production says, I like Ultimate Ebook Creator for nonfiction. Never heard of that, Tim. I'll have to check it out. Oh, Sailor Twilight just got Scrivener not too long ago and found your channel when looking up tutorials. I just want to say thank you. Well, thank you for watching the videos, and thank you for being here. All right. Wyland says, you hear sax and a lot of thematic music. Yeah, sometimes you can. Yeah. E.J.S. Link, what's a good genre to start when writing your very first book? The genre that you care most about. Pick the genre that you're passionate about. Don't pick the genres that you think are going to make you money. That way lies madness. All right. Yeah, so that's it's all good stuff, So I'm not seeing any more questions, folks. I think I got through all of them. Checking my favorites and comments here. So thank you all for the kind comments, and thank you for another great Power Hour. As I said, the next one is going to be Saturday, May 7th at 10 a.m. Looking forward to seeing all of you there. And I got a lot of cool videos coming up on the channel, so I'm looking forward to getting those out as well. So thank you for showing up, and I'll go ahead and end it now. Happy writing, and have a wonderful rest of your weekend.